Yo, back at you on another episode. Coming at you from chooseyourrelationships.com, offer of Love Can't Wait, which can be found on amazon.com. Yes, sir. It's official. Like a referee with a whistle. You know? The holidays is upon us. Everybody, I don't know what everybody, but some people they're out and about. Some people probably on that highway hitting that interstate, baby. Hitting I-95, I-85, I-10, I-77, I-95. There's some people that's on that highway. Be careful out there, man. That's all I got to say. Because, if you're on that highway, them boys is out there trying to get you. Trying to make their quota because they ain't want to be out there either. So they want to make it hard on you, So them boys is out there on that highway, you know. But hey, man, just enjoy your time off with your loved ones, your friends and family, and all that good stuff. That's what it's really all about, man. It's not necessarily about the holiday itself. It's about spending time with your friends and family and your loved ones, and all that good stuff. And that's what it's really all about to me. That's when I'm off or when the holidays come about. I'm not a really big holiday person, but I usually take advantage of it by spending time with my friends and family. Because I'm a family guy. I'm a family guy. Family and friends is very important to me. What up, Paul X? What's going down? Yeah, smash the like button. Share the video. If you catch the playback, hey, you catch the playback. You know, you probably don't go back to work until Tuesday, like most people. Depending on what type of job you got or whatever. You know what I'm saying? But hey, this episode was brought to my attention by somebody that's been following me for, my goodness, 5 years. 5 years, man. So get the likes up, man. Get the likes up.
All right. Just got the call, it's going down tonight. It's a lot of good vibes here tonight. But then I saw the stallion that I like. Hair from Cali, I live in the valley. Then you look sexy.
Say I hate. What you said? Say I hate holidays. It makes my business more chaotic. Well, it depends on what type of business you have. What do you mean chaotic? That could be a good thing. That's more money or what? That could be a good thing. Depends on what you mean by chaotic. That could be a good problem if you got more money coming in. That's a good problem to have. Now maybe you have problems fulfilling those orders or what people paid for. That's a good problem to have, really. When you don't have the money coming in, no prospects in sight in a business, that's a problem. So it just depends on where you at with that. That's how I see it anyway. That's work. I've helped people do this type of stuff for over 10 years now. And I still help people get leads, get prospects, and I still help people that's in the direct sales industry, because that's how I got started like 15 years ago, before I came online. This is like 15 years before I even did one video, before YouTube. This is during the MySpace days. That's how long. That's how long I've been around. This is before I thought about putting up one video. It's been times, even places that I've traveled like countless amount of times, and I never thought about doing a video. I just never thought about it. If I sometimes I think about all the places I've been from 2000 to 2010. I probably had enough footage. I probably had like 50, 60 hours of video footage from 10 years that I'd never even did a video, from back then, which is crazy. And if you count the times that I was in the Navy, it'll be over 100 hours of video footage. That's crazy, man. But, I just never starting a channel never really crossed my mind until I was introduced to direct sales. And I actually started uploading videos on Facebook first before I came to YouTube. Actually, that's how I started on Facebook. I started on MySpace, Facebook, then YouTube. Yeah, that's, and if it wasn't for direct sales, me being involved in the direct sales, I would have never came on YouTube, because at the time, a lot of YouTube was like the underground video platform at the time, before they got bought up by Google. Yeah, I was on YouTube when people were saying it was a scam. People were saying it was a scam. This was like 2006, 2005. That people were saying, if you like being on YouTube 2006, 2005, if you told somebody you had uploaded videos there, they would think you're a scam artist, or they would shame you and make you like try to make you feel embarrassed. I remember those days. So people that had YouTube channels back then, they wouldn't tell nobody if they did. The only way you would know if somebody had a YouTube channel back then is if you found them on YouTube, or you found them online somehow, some way, or you found them on Google. You could still find people on Google on YouTube, but if you didn't know they had a channel, they would never tell you, because they were shaming people back then. It was weird, man. It's a different time. So now it's mainstream now. If you tell somebody you have a YouTube channel now and they go look you up, that's impressive now. But it didn't start off that way. That's the thing, That's impressive now. If somebody see you doing a video now, especially if it's job related, well, depending on what type of job you have, but that's impressive now. But it didn't start off that way, Didn't start off that way at all. You know? And this is a conversation I had with a good friend of mine. Because, he was talking about things that he liked about women, or at least a woman that he's seriously thinking about dating or whatever, and hopefully get married to or have a long-term relationship, etc. Right? And what happened is he read my book, Love Can't Wait. He read my book, Love Can't Wait, probably about 6 years ago, I want to say. It's hard to believe that it's been out that long, to be honest. you know, it's it's 2022 now, and I think I released Love Can't Wait. I think I released that book 2016, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 2016, if I'm not mistaken. I released the first book 2014. That seems like a long time now. That's like what? That's almost it's 8 years. That seems like a long time from the first book to now, you know? But what happens is he read my book, and when he said of course he liked the book. I think he read it I think he told me he read it like 5-6 times. It's highlighted like crazy and all that good stuff. And he said, after reading the book 5-6 times, some of my principles and philosophies is kind of ingrained in him. It's not feels natural to him. He don't have to think when he out and about, just socially speaking, that's the place you want to be. You don't want to be thinking when you're out and about. It's kind of like being on a football field or being on a basketball court. You don't want to be thinking when you're on the field or when you're on the basketball court, when they call the plays. You don't want to be standing there thinking, okay, where I got to be. No, you want it to be natural. And that's exactly the point. That's where I wanted to be when I was younger. But that wasn't the case because I was too inexperienced and I was very gullible, So the game is you don't want to be thinking when you're out in these streets. You want things to be natural, because when you're out, when you leave the house, you're going to have to be spontaneous. You're going to have to be able to think on your feet. Not all the time, but sometimes. And see, in this world that we live in is very corrupt. So what you don't know can hurt you and get you into trouble most of the time. And it's easy to get in, but hard to get out. But if you know how to think on your feet, if you know what to say, how to say it, when to say it, and even sometimes who to say it to, a lot of this bullshit can be avoided. And that was a whole concept of me writing the book, Love Can't Wait. I wanted shit to be damn near natural, on autopilot. Look, most people are on autopilot anyway because of their programming, which in most cases is bad programming. The programming that most of us have is not serving us. It's not really working for us because we're not getting the results we want and we're not living the life we want. So if that's the case, the programming that we have is not serving us. So if you want things to get better, you have to change your programming. You have to change your way of thinking. You have to change, you might even have to change your way of being because it ain't working. And if it was working, it would have happened already for you. It would have happened in the 20s. You would have had it popping in the 20s. You would have had it popping in the 30s. You wouldn't have had no money problems in the 20s. You wouldn't have been worrying about the paycheck or stressing at your job or kissing somebody's ass or being a people pleaser, which that's most people's biggest problem. They're people pleasers. They seek to be liked versus being respected. You know, now I never really gave a damn about people liking me like that anyway. But that's not most people. Most guys, especially. Now, women, look, that's kind of natural for women to be liked because, you know, that's kind of a woman thing. I get it. But for a guy, that's not really a good idea to walk around and try to be liked and to seek validation from every goddamn body. That's not a good idea for a guy. What most guys really want is respect. That's what if you listen to a guy tell you about what he really wants out of a woman, he really wants respect, but he doesn't really know what it looks like in most cases, and he doesn't really know how to explain it in most cases. He'll say, oh, I want a woman that's loving, caring, nurturing. She got my back. She's by my side. That's more respect than anything. That's what he really is trying to say. But on the surface, it looks like one thing, but it's really respect. That's what it really comes down to. And so, see, in my book, I just took the love out of the equation altogether. We'll get to the love later because, see, love is different for most people, depending on how you were raised, where you live, how you grew up, your parents, your language, your culture, etc. I can go on and on. So what I did, I stripped it down and made it as simple as possible. I said, either you like me, you care about me, or you don't. And does she have the capacity to love? Meaning, in the long run, because love is a process, right? This is just my thinking. I'm not telling her this shit now. I'm not telling her this. And see, in the beginning, this ain't about love in the beginning. We get to the love later. It's a process. We'll get there. I'll lead her there later, right? See, because you have to understand, after the first 2-3 years of any relationship, it's like that honeymoon stage, some people like to call it, or that kind of like the Hollywood stage or the fantasy stage of a relationship. The 2 to 3 years, you know, it's kind of like, man, we having fun and we all over each other. We having sex. The sex is good and we having a good time. But you know that's not going to last forever like that. The reality is, at some point, the both of y'all are going to get used to being around each other. Somebody in that relationship is going to get comfortable at some point. That's just how it is. Now, being complacent is a problem. Being comfortable, that's okay. Being complacent is the problem. You know, being complacent meaning that you feel like you don't really got to do shit. You don't gotta you might gain a couple pounds, you might get smart at the mouth, you know, you might, it's that type of shit. It's that type of vibe. You got an attitude, it's that type of shit. Like, what you gonna do about it? You ain't going nowhere. It's that type of shit. You know, that's a problem. Being comfortable, yeah, that's okay. You still doing what you need to do to take care of your man, take care of your family, take care of the kids or whatever. So you go through that stage, first 2-3 years, and once you get past, if you get past that stage, that's when things gonna get real. It ain't gonna be about. It ain't gonna be about how you feel all the goddamn time. It's gonna become, hey, it's time to take care of business. That's what this relationship is really all about, anyway. At the end of the day, once you strip down all the going on the dates and trips and spending time with the family, and you're kissing, you're hugging, you're sexing, and you're having kids and all, and you're going out to the restaurant and the resorts and driving down the highway. And once you get past all that, strip it down, and you're spending time with me and all. Look, this is not really about how you feel. It's not really about love. This is if you want it to last, it can't be based on how you feel all the time. Because you and her, some days y'all are not gonna feel like doing any goddamn thing. Because you might be tired, you might shit, you're only human. You're not a damn robot. So if everything is based on how I feel, if everything is predicated on how I feel, and that's the foundation of the relationship, well, it's gonna break down eventually, because no one can sustain that type of relationship because it's not built on anything. It has a weak foundation. This is why I always say people should have roles. Both parties should know their roles in the relationship. You should have a foundation. You have to build on that foundation, though. It can't be like we winging it, or the shit is in limbo. Nobody's really saying anything about anything. We're just going with the flow. No, that's not a good idea either. There's a lot of people that go with the flow. There's you go with the flow, that shit sinks. It tanks. You know? So if you and you can't build with everybody. You can't build with every woman. There's some women that are unfit for long-term relationship. Now that doesn't mean she's a bad woman necessarily, but she's not built to have a family with. That's what it is. That's not good or bad, but that's just how it is. Everything is not for everybody. You know? So what I would say is in my book I say the woman should have the capacity to love, and you should establish a foundation of a relationship and build upon that. And you as a man, you're the leader. It's on you. It's not on her. It doesn't work that way. It's that. See, a lot of guys get caught up and they start saying stuff like, hey, she said this, she said that, and on and on and on. I'm like, look, why are you worried about what she's saying? I mean, she might not know what she wants. That could change next week, 6 months from now. That's why I always say that the one constant she must have in her life is you. You have to be like a rock, solid. You have to lead by example. If you're not leading by example, she's not going to take you serious. Almost no woman is going to take you serious if you don't lead by example. I give you an example. If you're a fit dude, you don't got to be like muscle bound, anything like that. But if you're a fit dude, maybe you're not fat, overweight, you don't got a big belly, but she got on some weight, extra weight, couple pounds. She might be even fat. And you telling her, hey, you too big. Hey, you need to change your diet. Oh, she'll listen to you because you're not fat, you're not overweight. So, and you lead by example. Maybe you go to the gym, maybe you work out from time to time. And you don't gotta be muscle bound, but she's looking at you like, okay, yeah, he ain't like me or whatever. So, okay, and she's mentally doing this within seconds. And to her, that makes sense to take you serious. Now, will she lose the weight? Who knows? But I can tell you this, you have a much better chance of getting through to her if you lead by example versus you overweight, you fat, y'all both fat. That woman ain't listening to you. How the hell are you gonna tell her that she should lose weight and your ass is fat, eating right along with her like a pig? That woman ain't gonna listen to you. Now, I'm not saying that a guy can't get women if he's fat. No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is people watch you, women watch you, they watch what you do, what you say, and your leadership is going to be predicated upon, how how her perception of you is going to be based on who you are, what you stand for, what you do, what you represent. That's what I'm saying. That's why it's good to be solid. That's why it's good to be consistent at whatever you do in life. Because people are watching you. People are watching you. And it's not about how many people are watching you. It's not about how many people. No. It could just be one person, 5 person, 20 people, 50 people. And it could take off. It could grow. You could be well known. You don't have to have everybody. Everybody's not for everybody. That's the thing. That's the thing that a lot of us don't understand. See, a lot of guys or are looking for the motherly love. They're looking for the woman that's gonna love them like their mom. See, the problem with that is your wife, your girlfriend, she ain't like your mom. Your mom grew up in a different time. She was raised completely different than your mom, or vice versa. So for you to compare your wife, your girlfriend, or the woman you live with to your mom, whether you do it on purpose or not, you're doing yourself a disservice. She's never going to be like that. She's never going to love you like that. Now, does that mean she won't treat you well? No. She'll treat you well. She'll cook, clean, have your kids. Y'all get married, live happily ever after. Yeah, that's great. Y'all have fun together. But she's never going to love you, probably never love you as much as you love her. It's never going to be like women don't love the same back. They don't love the same as we do them. It doesn't work like that. Because, like I said, they're just not built like that. It's like, let's take a woman that has kids. Now, just scientifically speaking, a woman that has kids, she'll die for her kids. Oh, now I have to be clear about this. A woman in her right mind, woman in her right state of mind, would do anything in her power to make sure those kids are safe, to make sure they're okay. They're still living, they're not in danger, etc. Right? That makes sense to me. Right? But she doesn't see her husband the same. She doesn't see her living boyfriend the same. Because the relationship is not the same. It's never going to be like that. Because it's not supposed to be that way. Because you got to look at it like this. Like during wartime, when countries invade other countries, the men are on the front lines. The men are on the front lines, right? The women are the last ones to get rid of. Because see, the invaders know that once we take the men out, it's a wrap. Because most of these women ain't got a shot in hell of beating us. So this is what it is. Once we get rid of the men in this country, we're going to take this motherfucker over. The women ain't got a shot in hell, and the kids, forget about it. So that's just how it plays out. And that's just nature. Men are built to defend and protect. We're built for that. Women are not built to defend. Now, there's some women that know how to put them things down and pull them triggers. They're trained to, but naturally, they're not like that. Women are naturally worshipers, supporters, but they're not built for combat or first line defense. No, they're not built for that. I mean, you can force some women into that way of thinking or that type of training, but they're not built for that. You know, even those women that you see that are cock diesel and train and some type of military training or whatever, even those women, if you train a guy to do the same thing if you train a man and a woman, same type of training, and put both of them on the front lines, 9 times out of 10, the man is going to last longer than the woman. So women naturally understand this, probably on a conscious level, understand that I'm the last line of defense when it comes to the kids. So I have to survive for the kids if need be. If my man, or at least the men in my circle or family, if they go down, I have to survive for the kids by any means necessary. Most women understand this when they have kids. Just like if you look at some of the movies on Netflix, there's a bunch of them. There's one I've been looking at like 2-3 months now. It's like a series, and then there's movies about how these different countries got invaded. It's a lot of it based on a true story. How Italy got invaded, how the Ukraine, well, they didn't call it, well, it wasn't the Ukraine back in the day. They changed the name, but how these different groups of people got invaded from their lands back in the day, you know, but the women, most of the women, survived because most of the women did not die. And most of those women, once the invaders took over the land and the castle, those women got with the invaders. They started having babies and everything, and started like a new breed of people. Yeah. So the people that invaded them might be from some place like what today would be called Russia. And then the other group of people would be called Ukrainian people. These two groups of people fought hundreds of years ago. This ain't the first time they fought. Today they just want the land back, you know? But these two people they mixed a long time ago. You know, but back in the day, they didn't call themselves Russians or Ukrainians. You know, I forgot what they call themselves. I've been looking at the damn movie, man, series. It's really a series on Netflix. I forgot what they used to call themselves, man. But the Netflix series based on a true story, and it's true. A lot of it's true. You know, it makes sense. You know, if you know history, European history, to be exact, you know, because they slaughtered each other for thousands of years over there. But a lot of those people, once they took over the castles, took over the land, and they killed the king or whatever, a lot of those women, they didn't kill the women. A lot of those women cooperated, and they end up being one of the invader men. So women know, they know how to survive. They know. This is why women love different. You know, it's not this, we love them. It's not the same type of love. You know, that's why the motherly love that we get from from our mother is not the same versus a woman we get married to. I understand. It really makes sense if you really think about it. I don't got a problem with it because I understand how things play out. You can still be with a woman that has your back, have a good time with her, have kids with her. She'll be a good mother. She'll support you whatever you're doing and all that good stuff. Because see, when you look at your woman, she should be like a breath of fresh air for you. She should motivate you to be the best you can be. Because when you win, everybody wins. And the next generation will be better off than the both of y'all. You know, at least it's supposed to be that way anyway. I mean, your kids shouldn't have to go through the same thing that you went through. You know, you and her, you and the mother. You know, that's how it's supposed to be. But I don't got a problem with a woman not loving me the same as I would love her. I don't got a problem with that. You know, a lot of guys do have a problem with that. But it's a different type of relationship. That's the thing. You know, but just generally speaking, in North America especially, women are not socialized to be the way your mother and your father was. It's a different environment. It's a very toxic environment where we live and corrupt. So if you meet a woman here in this environment, even the best of the best women are going to have some of that shit that's in this society. Have some of that toxic energy. She's going to have some of that. Regardless if she meditates or she's hella religious, she's going to have some of that. You can't swim in the I think my uncle used always said, you can't swim in the mud without getting some mud on you. It's like you can't swim in the ocean without getting some salt on you. It's the same concept. I mean, you might say, well, I don't let that shit bother me. It's kind of like somebody that say something like, well, I work this job. I know some crazy people that work in here, but it don't bother me. It might not bother you, but it still affects you because you're around these people with that bad energy 5 days a week. You might not feel stress, but it still affects you. That's all I'm saying. You know, that's all I'm saying. You can't hide or dip and dive, or you can act like things aren't the way it is. You can act like it doesn't exist, but it still affects you. As a matter of fact, the more you act like it doesn't affect you, that makes it worse most of the time. If you look at things the way it is and not the way you want it to be, you're respecting yourself now. That's self-respect. That's self-respect. Is really the only respect. Is self-respect, really. You know. And that's what most guys really want. Most guys want to be respected by their woman at home. Most guys want to feel like she got my back, you know? She's behind me. She believes in me. That's what most guys really want. But they might not be able to explain it. They don't know what it looks like. See, if you travel and you start going to these other countries and you see how these other guys treat, how these other women treat these other guys, and you have a good idea of what it looks like. But here's the problem. Once you go to these other countries and see how these other guys are being treated, you're not going to be able to come back to North America and act like it didn't happen where you was at. You can't go backwards. You can't come back here. You won't be able to tolerate the foolishness anymore. So you won't be able to tolerate the foolishness no more. And that's usually messes a lot of guys' heads up. And then they be like, okay, I can't do this no more. So what usually happens is they'll keep traveling, or they'll date women from other places. And hopefully those women that came from someplace else aren't as corrupt or Americanized as the ones that were born and raised over here. That's what usually happens, you know, because if you go to someplace else, if you take a couple of vacations and you go, say if you go to South America, or maybe you go to Japan or Vietnam or the island somewhere like that, and let's say you have a good experience and you see what goes on other places, and maybe you build a couple of relationships. Maybe you're pretty close to a couple of women in these other places or whatever. And that's great. And then what happens, you're gonna come back to North America and you're gonna be thinking, man, I had such a great time or whatever. I'm ready to get back to work and be productive and all that good stuff. And that's a good attitude to have. But I'm trying to tell you, you're not going to tolerate less than what you just experienced for the past, I don't know, 2-5 years or whatever. It could be a year. Some guys, it takes them a year. They might go someplace for 2-3. They might go to a certain area, a city or a country 2-3 times over a span of a year or 2 or maybe 5 years. And when they get a taste of that life, what it could be long term, and just his imagination. Some guys be like, look, I want this shit all the time. I want to live this life with women like this all the time. You know? So they be like, okay, how can I work remotely or, get a visa over here in this town? Just like some guys will go to the DR. I know some guys move to the DR for like a year, or they'll move to some place like Thailand or Brazil, because a lot of these places have the business visa or the remote work visa. It's different from course, it's different from every country or whatever. But there's a lot of countries that have business visas and some type of work visas or whatever available. And then you got guys that will leave corporate America now and go to a completely different way of living just to live a different, better life, have a different experience for themselves. You know, they'll make that a completely different shift. A lot of guys are doing it. A lot of guys are moving to Mexico. You know, because it's like, and you know, Mexico's all right. I could do Mexico. I could live in Mexico. I could do Mexico. I've been down to Mexico a couple times. I could live in the Cancun area, outside of Cancun. I could do Mexico. I understand why people would move there. I get it, 100%. You know, a lot of guys would say, hey, you know, I speak a little Spanish, just enough to get by, and I can be fluent in like a year, two, couple months, and they'll make the jump and move to Mexico, or move to Brazil, or move to Colombia, or move to Vietnam. You know, and they're doing great over there. Have good relationships with people, less stress, peace of mind, all that good stuff. And that's great. That's great, man. That's how life's supposed to be. You know? That's how life's supposed to be, man, you know. And love ain't really got nothing to do with it. These women roll out the red carpet for these guys. And love ain't got really nothing to do with it. We can get to the love later. Like I always say, this woman is doing what she's supposed to do, and he's doing what she's supposed to do. And the family like him. Her friends like him. Hell, what more can you ask for? Some of them got kids with the woman. What more can you ask for? They support the guy, whatever he does. He probably do some shit online or whatever. Maybe he got a YouTube channel. Maybe he got a podcast like I do. Man, what more can you ask for? Man, that's living the life. And you got young guys that's doing this in the 20s, 30s. They start early. They didn't do what I did. I started late. You know, I started doing like, I came online, I was in the 30s. You know, these guys, they start their YouTube channel, they 19, 20, 21. Earlier the better, though. And love ain't got nothing to do with it. Really. You know, we get to the love later. What it is, does she have, I always say, does she have the capacity to love? That's, you know, because we can get to that long term. You know, maybe in her culture, they don't look at it like that. They don't look at love as, that's maybe not the thing in their concept, in her culture. And that's okay too. You can still have a good relationship with a woman, and love don't have anything to do with it. It just works out. It just works out, man. You know? And she don't have to be like your mother or love you back like your mother do. No, you know, she can be supportive, caring, even loving, you know, eventually, you know, she got your back. She cares about your well-being, you know, she, she's just there. She's there to serve you. That's what a woman. That's the woman's job. She's there to serve her man. She's not there to take from a man. See, that's the problem with a lot of guys. Really, they got with a woman for the wrong reason, and a lot of these guys need to get rid of these damn women that they're with, but they don't have the balls to do it because they don't want to have to start all over again. So a lot of guys would rather stay in a raggedy relationship than have to start all over again. I disagree with that, but hey, it's your life. You know, a woman's job is to serve her man. Her job is to, you know, do what you got to do so the man wins, because when he wins, everybody wins. But see, a lot of women don't understand this. When they get with a guy, first thing they do is they trying to take away some shit. If the guy has a routine that's positive, or maybe it's just maybe he just like watching football on Sundays. The average woman is saying, "Hey, forget this damn football. This got to stop." She's trying to bust balls. She's trying to say, "Hey, no, too much football." Now she's not coming in here. She's not trying to add in anything. She's trying to take away. And that's a mistake that a lot of women make, and that's why you have so much push and pull and animosity between men and women, because a lot of women are not fit. They aren't trained or built for relationships. What you have today is a lot of women are workers. They're good workers. They're good for working the corporate job. But when it comes to relationships, they're horrible because they haven't been taught. So you have a lot of women that will say, if you ask them, "Hey, how come your marriage didn't work out?" He said, "Oh, I just focus on my career, you know." And see, the problem with that is a lot of women are not. The career doesn't fulfill them. The career will have a woman in the long run. She will be depressed and lonely, and she'll die that way. The career does not fulfill a woman. She'll die sick and lonely. That's what usually happens to a lot of these corporate women that you see. Now some of them figure it out before it's too late. But by that time they figure it out, shit, they late 40s, 50s, sometimes 60s. But they wasted their whole youth. And some of them don't have no kids, and the ones that do have kids, the kids don't like them. Kids resent them because they neglected them when they were growing up. So it took them, some of these women, it might take them 50, 60 years, 45 years for them to really figure out their purpose and what this thing is really all about. It's not really about working a corporate job. And see, a lot of men and women today don't know their roles as a man and as a woman. They get caught up in the everyday stuff and the career and how I look and what do I say and impressing people. and being a people pleaser and all that jazz. None of that stuff really matters. You know, it takes some people, most people are slow. That's the problem. It takes them a long time to learn or get down to what things is really all about. And some of them never learn. Like I said, some people, I think especially today, a majority of women are going to die by themselves. They'll get sick and die by themselves. This is already happening. But I think it's going to be more and more women in the next 5 to 10 years. You're going to see more homeless women than ever before. More women going to prison than ever before. It's going to change drastically. You'll see, and you can quote me on this too. You can come back and listen to this recording or video and be like, yeah, he did say that. You know, that's what you're going to see within the next 5 to 10 years. You know, it's going to be a lot of struggling women out here. And they're going to be by themselves. And then you have a lot of guys, younger guys that's in the 20s, early 20s. They don't feel like they need a woman. A lot of guys will say stuff like, if I got one, I got one. If not, it's all right. No big deal. I'll go without. So a lot of guys don't have a desire to even be around a woman. Forget marriage and dating. They don't even have a desire to be around a woman today. That's a problem. I've never seen that before until recently. Ooh, excuse me. I never seen that before until like past 5 years, I would say. You know, but that's where the problem is today. You have guys feel like they can go without a woman, you know, and then you have women don't feel like, well, men and women kind of feel like relationships and having a family is not, it's not front and center. It's not something that, it's not a priority to them. Priority to either side. That's a problem too. You know, it wasn't like that like 20 years ago, 30 years ago. It wasn't like that. That mindset didn't really exist like that. But today, man, it's starting to be common. If you're talking about like a 21-year-old, a 22-year-old, if you ask them their goals and desires and dreams and aspirations, family probably won't come out of their mouth. Having a family won't be a goal for them. That won't even get talked about. They'll say lifestyle, making money, modeling, trying to get up the corporate ladder, etc. But having a husband or a wife, that won't even come out of their mouth now. So that's what you got out here today. In most cases, I say at least if you talk out of I'm gonna say out of 10 women, that's what you're gonna hear. Out of 10 women, I'm gonna say 7 out of 10. That's what you're gonna hear. If you live in a big city, 7 out of 10 women are gonna talk like that. Small towns a little different. Small town a little different. You know, the big cities, that's pretty much what you're gonna hear. Especially if you live in cities like Miami, New York, Chicago, LA, Houston, Dallas, places like that. You hear a lot of that. And the women today in these cities are off the hook. I'm telling you. You know, they're off the chain out here, man. They're running through guys. Like, women today are running through guys better than men running through women. Which sounds crazy, but it's true. Women are running through guys better than men running through women today. Damn. Yeah. So it's just different time today, man. Yeah. And I don't see it getting better. Because like I said, guys don't really have a desire to do anything. You know, they don't, a lot of guys not really, they don't have a motivation to do anything different. You know, a lot of guys will play video games all day. They'll work a job, play video game. They'll if they work a job, they get off, go home, play video games for hours, and go to sleep, wake up, do the same thing over again. And on the weekends, they'll play video games the whole day. And there's not a woman in sight. And if he don't work a job, they'll play video games the whole day if he's not working. And there's not a woman in sight. There's not a woman in sight. He ain't really, he cool. And then you have more virgins, more guys as virgins today than ever. It used to be the opposite. It used to be where it's a lot of virgins as women. But now you got guys, it's virgins. There's more virgins as guys than ever. And these guys that are virgins, they cool. They ain't really, there's no pressure. They ain't really trying to get at no woman. They might be attracted to a woman, but a lot of these guys are socially awkward. They don't really know how to act around a woman because they're not around women. They playing video games or hanging out with their buddies during the week. There's a lot of guys that's like this out here. Millions of guys that's like this. It sounds crazy, but there's millions of guys that are like this out here in North America. That's where we are now. And it's going to get worse. You know, and some of these guys are starting to travel. They're starting to go other places and they'll lose their virginity. And some of them get taken advantage of because they were socially awkward. Anyway, before they even left and went anywhere, they're socially awkward. And they're still socially awkward. You know? So if you're socially awkward, just because you go to a different location, that doesn't mean it's going to be better. You might have a different experience, but that don't mean it's better. You still got the same problems. You never figured it out. You never worked it out. And if you might go to a different location, but you're going to have a different problem. And the problems are always going to flare up. It's always going to come up because you haven't taken care of it. But in most guys' mind, they'll be like, okay, I'm having a different experience here versus being where I came from. But that doesn't make it better. That just makes it different. That's all. Different don't equate to being better. No. That's the thing. That's where a lot of guys got it twisted. And a lot of these guys, what happened with a lot of these guys is they didn't have the best role models, father figure in their life growing up. So they got shit all twisted up mentally. You know, mom wasn't shit and your dad wasn't shit. That's the problem with a lot of guys. Mom wasn't shit and your dad wasn't shit. And that's what they produce. You came from them. You know? So that's about all I got, man. I didn't plan on being on here that long, you know. Like, share this episode, man. Smash the like button.
Alright. Just got the call, it's going down tonight. It's a lot of goodbyes here tonight. But then I saw the sky in that light. Hair from Cali, I live in the valley. Then you look sexy.
Yes, sir. Shit. Yeah, man. So hey, man, that's what all I got, man. Enjoy your time off with your friends and family and all that good stuff. You know, I know I will be. It's actually if you've been following me for a while, you know that it's been a minute since I've really been anywhere because all of the restrictions, but the restrictions is gone in most places that I would like to go now. There's no restrictions in most of these places. Handful of countries and left, you know. Don't gotta do no jab, no gotta write but no jab no more, none of that shit. PCR, nah, none of that. That's about done, you know. So I can get out, spread my wings, you know, do my thing. Enjoy life, relax around the people I really want to be around, all that good stuff. You did. That's cool, man. You only got one life to live, man. And that's it. Until next time, I'm out. Peace.
Yeah, baby.
Did you like that video? If you want more of that, it's right here. Boss Life Secrets on Amazon.com. And share this video. Until next time, I'm out. Peace.